All right, y'all. So PFF Football Focus came out with a quote today on their show and basically said this about Brock Vandagriff. If Brock Vandagriff is the 5-star quarterback he was coming out of high school, this is a really dangerous team. Now, this is a team that had 5 all-SEC players for the preseason coming in, right? Deion Walker, Maxwell Harrison, Barian Brown, Marquez Cox, and Jamon Dumas Johnson. So all these kids can play. The thing to note on that one is 3 of the 5 of that selection comes on the defensive side of the ball. No, actually 4 of the 5 come on the defensive side of the ball. So they do have some key pieces offensively. We look at Dane Key and what he was able to do last year. Was a leading receiver, over 500 plus yards receiving, 6 touchdowns, but he's going to have a new quarterback at the helm. And really, this is Brock's first chance to be a starter. Now, I think he could be very good for Kentucky, but I don't know how good the defense is going to be. Like I said, they do have all SEC selections coming into the preseason, had really good defensive players. Obviously did good in the transfer portal. But when y'all look at this schedule, I want to see y'all thoughts, what y'all think. So looking at this schedule, so week 1 is this weekend, right? I know everybody's excited. College football weekend officially. It's going to be so much fun. Labor Day weekend, you can't get much better than that. But they play USM the first game of the season, so that should be pretty easy. Another winnable game should be South Carolina at home, but you never know. So a keynote of this schedule, you look at these 4 right here. 4 of these games are at home. You play USM, South Carolina, Georgia. Whew, good luck on that one. And then Ohio. What I can say about Georgia is that Kentucky always plays them tough in the first half. Georgia runs away with it in the second half. Every time these 2 teams play. The good thing you got going is it's going to be a night game, right? So you're going to be to have your crowd there in attendance. They're going to want to play, Brock's going to want to play good in this one. Obviously, this is his former team, where he went to school at. So he's going to want to play excellent in this game as well. So you got that factor, coming into this game. But it's going to be crucial to get out to early when they play that. Now, it's not for a couple of weeks, but still, that is a pivotal game. That could very well determine the season, how good it can be. If you could upset Georgia early on, look out. But the thing that makes me nervous is the rest of the schedule. Let's take a look. All right, y'all. So looking at the rest of the schedule, after Ohio, then you got your first road game of the year. You play Ole Miss. You go down to the Rebel Walk. You go down to the SIP. That's going to be another tough game. A lot of people are high on Ole Miss, especially with Jackson Dart at the helm at quarterback. They think this is going to be the year. They take off. They make a college football playoff, make some noise this year. It's a tough game. Then you play Vanderbilt, another winnable one. Then you got to go down to Gator Country to play Florida. Florida, again, this is a big year for head coach Billy Napier, who I think is a good coach, but they got to have some type of, progress this year. They got to be able to be, I think 9-3 potentially, right on the outside, potentially battle for SEC championship. Like, that's kind of where they got to be at this year. They need vast improvement. Graham Mertz returns for another year. Obviously, it was a Wisconsin transfer a couple years ago. How good will this team be? Done pretty decent in recruiting, but can they take the next step? That's a tough game. Then you play Auburn at home. Auburn is a jumpstart team. I'm going to tell y'all right now. Auburn has a really, really good team. I'm curious to see how they match up their DBs against that really good wide receiver core that they have. Then you play at Tennessee in Neyland Stadium. That's another tough game as well. Now, again, that's a tough game. Nico Elimileva, very high on him as well. So, got to see how they turn out in that one as well. All right, and then you have Murray State, and then you got to go down to Austin with Quinn Ewers and company and that dynamic receiving core and play the Longhorns. So that's tough. And then obviously Louisville, you finish out with Louisville at home. So this is not an easy schedule. I know some said, well, they could maybe go 9-3, 8-4. I don't know, okay? If I had to say it, I think they could beat, obviously, USM. I think they could beat South Carolina. Georgia, I would give the edge to Georgia. But, hey, we've seen crazier things happen. Number one, the fans are going to be hype. Right, you're going to have to slow that game down, get out to an early lead. But let's say they lose that one. 2-1. I got to be in Ohio. I got Ole Miss winning. That's 3-2. I think they could beat Vanderbilt, Florida, and Auburn. So that make them 6-2. I think they will lose to Tennessee at 6-3. They will beat Murray State at 6-3 at 7-3. And then I think they will lose to Texas 7-4. And in Louisville, I think they could beat them 8-4. So that's how I would look kind of like at their schedule. Now, as far as the outlook of the team, and obviously Brock, we're going to look just a little bit deeper. All right, so we already talked about, obviously, Dane Key being one of Brock's biggest weapons next year. Another guy you guys need to know, Chip Trayanum, comes over from Ohio State, had 373 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns last year. He's going to be their key bell cow back. Last year they had a 1,100-yard rusher, so he's going to step into the fold. His final season, so he's looking to pop off and have a big year for the Wildcats. So that's going to be key as well. And I think the key part I like about this offense is that the receiving core is pretty good, right? It has a lot of experience. So Brock's going to have guys, obviously got to work through the timing and get everything down. Obviously, Brock learning a new playbook. He'll be fine there. But when you have experience at the wide receiver spot, you feel pretty good. I don't feel like it's a lot of new guys going to be in those key positions at playmaker and things like that. And he has a pretty decent offensive line. So that would be my perspectives. I think Kentucky can go 8-4 if everything goes well. Like I said, fingers crossed. Going to have to get some upset wins, like trying to go on the road and beat Ole Miss, trying to go on the road and beat Texas, trying to win at home, beating, one of your bigger rivals who's beating you a lot lately in Georgia. None of those games are going to be easy, but I think Kentucky, if everything goes well, it could be 8-4. Now, as far as dangerous, all depends on the context of how you want to word that and how good you think it can be. Because dangerous sometimes means, they could be dangerous as far as getting to an SEC championship game. It could be dangerous as far as getting to a college football playoff. So it all depends on what dangerous really means. Or dangerous could also mean you pull off a lot of big upsets, which they have a lot of key teams on the schedule, and they are unranked. So we're going to find out. Y'all comment below. What do you think Kentucky's ceiling is this year? If Brock can play how he did in high school, what record can he lead them to? Let me hear your thoughts below.